The bass thundered through the underground club in Gangnam, Seoul's most exclusive district where money talked and secrets walked on designer heels. Adana Okonkwo stood at the entrance, her curves wrapped in midnight blue silk that caught the strobing lights like water catching moonlight. Her dark skin glowed with shea butter and confidence earned from surviving Lagos's cutthroat business scene. She wasn't here for the music. She was here because desperation wore many faces, and tonight, hers looked like opportunity. Her business, a modest import company connecting African artisans with Asian markets, was drowning, 3 months behind on warehouse rent, suppliers threatening to cut ties, her visa running on borrowed time. The expat network whispered about this place, owned by the Kang family. Not just any family, the family that controlled half of Seoul's underground economy and all of its untouchable connections. Her best friend and business partner, Ye-jin, had grabbed her shoulders 2 nights ago. You need capital, real capital, the kind banks won't give a Nigerian woman with no collateral. The club on Friday, just network, just talk, that's what you're good at. Adana laughed bitterly. Network with criminals? Network with people who make things happen, Ye-jin corrected. Morality is expensive. We're broke. Now, stepping past the velvet rope with a forged invitation that cost her last clean money, Adana scanned the crowd. Seoul's elite criminal underbelly dressed well, designer suits, Rolex watches, women dripping in jewelry that could fund her company for a year. She felt the weight of judgment, the only black woman in a sea of Korean and Japanese faces. Some stared with curiosity, others with barely concealed disdain. She lifted her chin higher. Lagos had taught her that power was performed before it was possessed. The club's VIP section sat elevated, glass walls revealing the occupants like specimens in expensive terrariums. She spotted him immediately because everyone else did too, then looked away. Kang Woo-jin sat alone at a corner table, separated from the clusters of loud men doing deals over whiskey. The boss's son, the heir no one understood. Tall, probably 6'2", with sharp features that looked carved from marble. His black suit was perfectly tailored, but he wore it like armor, not fashion. What made people avert their eyes wasn't his looks, it was the way he occupied space. Still, observant. His gaze tracked movement across the club with mechanical precision, never landing on faces directly, always just past them. When someone approached his table, he tilted his head slightly, processing their words with a delay that made people uncomfortable. Autism, Ye-jin had mentioned. High-functioning but socially isolated. His father, Kang Dae-jung, ran the organization with iron brutality. Woo-jin was the anomaly, brilliant with numbers and logistics, but avoided at gatherings. People feared what they didn't understand. Adana understood being underestimated. It was her greatest weapon. She watched him for 20 minutes, noting patterns. He checked his watch every 4 minutes. His fingers tapped his thigh in rhythm, counting maybe, processing stress. When a server brought him water, he nodded exactly once, no eye contact. When a drunk enforcer stumbled near his table, Woo-jin's hand moved to his jacket, not defensive, calculated. The enforcer sobered instantly and left. Dangerous and alone. Perfect. Adana downed her overpriced cocktail for courage and made her move. She didn't approach timidly, confident strides, hips swaying naturally, eyes forward. She stopped at his table without waiting for permission. Kang Woo-jin, she said clearly, her accent thick with Nigerian inflection. I'm Adana Okonkwo. I want one dance, no agenda, no games, just rhythm. His eyes snapped to a point near her left ear, processing. Seconds stretched. The music pounded. She didn't fidget. Why? His voice was flat, no inflection, not rude, genuinely asking. She smiled, leaning just slightly. Because everyone in this room is watching you sit alone, and I'm tired of standing alone. Sometimes the best business starts with bad decisions. Another pause. His head tilted 5 degrees left. One dance. He stood abruptly, and she realized he was even taller up close. He didn't offer his hand. He walked toward the dance floor, and she followed, feeling eyes tracking them like predators watching anomalous prey. What she didn't know was that the security cameras captured everything, that 3 men in the back office were already making calls, that her random decision had just activated protocols she couldn't imagine. The song shifted to something with Afrobeat fusion, probably intentional, probably mocking. Adana didn't care. She moved with the music, her body fluent in rhythms that predated words. Wu Jin's movements were precise, mathematical almost. He counted beats, stepped on exact intervals. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. They didn't touch much, a hand on her waist during a turn, brief and formal, but the space between them crackled with something neither named. She caught him almost looking at her face, his gaze flickering to her collarbone instead. "You don't dance often," she observed. "No. Why tonight?" she asked directly. "Most people don't." The song ended. Neither moved immediately. Then his phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression, neutral before, hardened into something colder. "You need to leave," he said quietly. "Now." "What?" "Rival family. Huang Syndicate. They're here." His hand gripped her elbow, firm but not painful. "You're conspicuous. They'll use you." Idana's heart kicked into gear, but her mind stayed sharp. Back exit? Compromised. "Follow me." He moved fast, pulling her through the VIP section toward a door marked private. A bouncer moved to block them. Wu Jin said something sharp in Korean. The man stepped aside instantly. They entered a hallway, industrial and cold. Shouts erupted behind them. Gunshots, muffled but unmistakable. "Run," Wu Jin said. They ran. The hallway led to a service elevator. He jammed the button. Idana's heels clicked frantically. "I can't." "Shoes off." She kicked them off, silk dress hiked to her thighs. The elevator arrived. They entered. He pressed basement 2. As the doors closed, she heard men shouting in the hallway. "This is insane," she breathed. "I just wanted to dance." He looked at her properly for the first time, eyes meeting hers for a brief, unsettling moment. "You chose wrong night, wrong person." The elevator descended. Her life, she realized, had just pivoted on a single choice, and Kang Woo Jin, the autistic heir no one understood, had just become the most dangerous man she'd ever danced with. The doors opened to a parking garage. "Come," he said simply. She did, because in that moment, running with a stranger felt safer than facing what was behind them. What she didn't know was that safety was another illusion, and the chase had only just begun. The basement parking garage smelled like oil and concrete fear. Idana's bare feet slapped against cold floor as Wu Jin led her through rows of luxury vehicles, Mercedes, BMWs, a Maserati that probably cost more than her entire inventory. He moved with purpose, no hesitation, pulling a key fob from his pocket. Lights flashed on a sleek black Genesis G90. "Get in," he ordered, already rounding to the driver's side. Idana hesitated for half a heartbeat. Every survival instinct from Lagos screamed conflicting advice. Don't get in cars with strangers, but also adapt or die. She'd walked into worse situations with less information. She got in. The leather interior was immaculate, smelling faintly of sandalwood and something clinical. Wu Jin started the engine. It purred expensively and reversed with precision that felt robotic, no wasted movement. As they approached the exit ramp, he slowed, scanning. "Duck," he said. She complied instantly, folding herself below the dashboard. She heard the window lower, heard him speak rapid Korean to someone, presumably a guard. A tense exchange. Then the window rose and the car accelerated smoothly. "Stay down until I say." Idana's heart hammered against her ribs, but her mind catalogued details. His calm, the way he navigated without GPS, like the route was memorized. The phone mounted on the dashboard showing a map with moving red dots, tracking something, or someone. 3 minutes of driving. 4, 5, up. She sat up, looking back instinctively. The club's neon sign was blocks behind them, Seoul's nightscape spreading in every direction. "Are they following us?" 2 cars, maintaining distance. His eyes flicked to the rear-view mirror in precise intervals. They won't engage in public zones. They'll wait. Wait for what? Opportunity. He took a sharp right into a narrower street, then another left. The city blurred past. Adana gripped the door handle, watching his profile. Perfectly still except for his hands on the wheel. No sweat, no fear. This was routine for him. "Why did you help me?" she asked. "You asked." That's not an answer. He was quiet for several blocks. Then, "You weren't supposed to be there. Variables like you complicate situations. Simpler to remove the variable than manage the complication." She blinked. "I'm a variable? You're unaccounted for. That creates risk. So you saved me to reduce risk?" "Yes." Brutal honesty. She almost laughed. Most men would lie, say something noble. Lying requires tracking false narratives. Inefficient. They entered an underpass, orange lights strobing through the windows. Adana checked behind them. One car, black sedan, was still there, maintaining that careful distance. "They're still following," she said. "I know. Doesn't that worry you?" Worry is unproductive. Action is productive. He took a sharp right into a narrower street, then another left. The city blurred past. Adana gripped the door handle, watching his profile. Perfectly still, except for his hands on the wheel. No sweat, no fear. This was routine for him. "What did they want?" she asked. "To identify you, assess your value, possibly use you as leverage." "Leverage for what?" "Against my father, against me, against the family." He changed lanes with sudden sharpness, cutting off a truck. The driver's horn blared. The sedan mirrored the move. Adana's fingers dug into the leather seat. "And if they catch us?" "They won't." Not arrogance, statement of fact. He took an exit without signaling, the car tilting on the ramp's curve. They plunged into a residential area, narrow streets, old buildings with laundry hanging between them. He killed the headlights. Darkness swallowed them. The car's speed didn't decrease. Adana bit back a gasp as he navigated by memory, taking turns she couldn't see coming. Behind them, the sedan's headlights swept past an intersection they'd already left. Wu Jin pulled into an alley so narrow the mirrors nearly scraped brick walls. He stopped, engine idling. They sat in darkness, breathing synchronized with tension. Adana counted her heartbeats. 30, 40, 50. The sedan's engine growled past on the street beyond, searching, then faded. Wu Jin waited another full minute before backing out of the alley. He turned the headlights on, drove sedately now, blending with late-night traffic. "Safe," he said. Adana exhaled shakily. For now, he agreed. She studied him in the dashboard's glow. His expression hadn't changed once during the entire chase. No adrenaline rush, no relief, just that same mechanical calm. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Safe house, temporary location. You'll stay until situation resolves." "I didn't agree to that." "You got in the car. Agreement was implicit." She bristled. "That's not how consent works." For the first time, she saw something shift in his face. Not quite emotion, more like recalculation. "You want to leave." "I want to know my options." "Option 1, I take you home. Huang family identifies your address within 2 hours. They pressure you for information about me, about tonight. You know nothing, which makes you useless. Useless variables are eliminated." Her stomach dropped. "Eliminated?" "Killed," he clarified, without softening. "Option 2, safe house, temporary protection. Situation resolves in approximately 48 to 72 hours. You return to your life." "And option 3? "There is no option 3. Adana closed her eyes. This was insane. She'd walked into that club looking for business connections, and now she was negotiating her survival with a man who spoke about murder like weather patterns. But Lagos had taught her one crucial skill: assess reality fast, adapt faster. "Safe house," she said quietly. He nodded once. Practical choice. They drove in silence for another 15 minutes. Seoul transformed around them. from crowded districts to quieter neighborhoods with gates and guards, old money areas. Wu Jin pulled into an underground parking structure beneath a modern apartment complex. He parked in a reserved spot marked private, authorized only. Follow closely. Don't speak to anyone. They took an elevator to the 12th floor. The hallway was empty, carpeted in deep blue, smelling of expensive cleaning products. He stopped at door 1207, used 3 different keys and a fingerprint scanner. The door clicked open. The apartment was minimalist, clean lines, neutral colors, floor-to-ceiling windows with blackout curtains drawn, furniture that looked designed for function over comfort, no photos, no personal items, a space that could belong to anyone or no one. Guest room is there, he pointed to a door on the left. Bathroom attached, clothes in the closet, previous occupants, should fit approximately. Kitchen is stocked. Don't answer the door, don't go on the balcony, don't use your phone. Adana stiffened. Why not my phone? Traceable. They'll monitor your contacts, your patterns. Phone stays off. She pulled her phone from her small purse, miraculously still with her, and stared at the dark screen. Her lifeline. Ye Jin would panic if she didn't check in. Her suppliers expected updates. For how long? She asked. 48 to 72 hours. You said that already, but you don't know for certain, do you? He met her eyes briefly, then looked away. Variables resist precise prediction. I estimate based on past patterns. And if you're wrong, I'm rarely wrong. She wanted to argue, to demand better answers, but exhaustion was setting in, the adrenaline crash. Her feet hurt from running barefoot. Her dress was wrinkled and damp with sweat. Why are you doing this? She asked again, softer this time. Wu Jin stood by the window, hands in his pockets, silhouetted against the curtains. You asked me to dance. People don't ask me things. They demand, avoid, or fear. You asked. That was notable. Something in her chest twisted. Not pity, she sensed he'd hate that, but recognition. She knew what it was to be underestimated, avoided, treated as other. I'm going to shower, she said, and sleep, and tomorrow we're going to talk about what happens next. Agreed. She walked to the guest room, closed the door, and leaned against it. Her hands were shaking now that she was alone. She danced with a Mafia air and ended up in a safe house, protected by a man who calculated murder like mathematics. In the shower, under scalding water, she let herself feel the fear she'd suppressed. Then she washed it away with the soap. Fear was useless. Strategy mattered. She found clothes in the closet, designer brands, tags still on, all in neutral colors, size 10 to 12. She picked soft gray sweatpants and a black t-shirt. They fit well enough. The bed was firm, sheets crisp. She lay down, expecting insomnia. She was asleep in 3 minutes. Dawn light filtered through curtains, muted and gray. Adana woke disoriented, reaching for her phone before remembering. No phone. Safe house. Mafia. Reality settled back like a weight. She checked the time on the bedside clock, 7:43 a.m. She'd slept hard, dreamlessly, her body's way of coping with stress. Shut down, reboot. The apartment was silent. She opened her door cautiously. The living room was empty, but she heard faint sounds from the kitchen. Following them, she found Wu Jin at the stove, cooking eggs with the same methodical precision he drove with. He'd changed clothes. Dark gray slacks, white dress shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. His hair was damp from a recent shower. You're awake, he observed without turning. Good morning to you too, she said dryly. Morning, good, is subjective. He plated the eggs, added toast. You eat breakfast? Usually, when I'm not being chased by criminals. You are currently still being chased by criminals. The chasing is simply paused. He set the plate on the small dining table, then prepared another for himself. Eat. We need to discuss logistics. Adana sat, eyeing the food. Perfectly cooked scrambled eggs, toast with butter and jam already applied. Do you do everything this precisely? Yes. Must be exhausting. No more exhausting than chaos. He sat across from her, began eating with measured bites. She ate too, realizing she was starving. So, logistics. The Huang family will investigate last night. They saw you with me. They'll identify you through club security footage, facial recognition, immigration databases. By noon today, they'll know your name, nationality, business, address, visa status, and financial situation. Her appetite vanished. That fast? Possibly faster. They have resources. And then what? Depends on what they want. If they want to pressure my family, they'll approach you as leverage. If they want to recruit you, they'll offer solutions to your problems in exchange for information. Adana's eyes narrowed. How do you know about my problems? I don't. But you came to a Mafia-owned club alone, dressed to impress, asking to dance with the air. You're not there for entertainment. You need something. People in need make patterns. He took a sip of water. I researched you this morning. How? I didn't tell you my last name. Facial recognition. Immigration database. Took 4 minutes. He said it without pride or apology. Adana Okonkwo, Nigerian national, entered South Korea 8 months ago on a business visa. Owner of Afro-Asia Bridge Import Company, specializing in textiles and artisanal goods, currently 3 months behind commercial rent, suppliers threatening contract termination. Visa expires in 6 weeks without proof of viable business income. She stared at him, fury and fear mixing. You had no right. You had every right. You're in my protection. I need to know what leverage exists against you. His tone remained flat, factual. The Huang family will know this too. They'll offer to solve your financial problems, clear your debts, extend your visa through political connections. In exchange, you inform on me. I don't know anything about you. You know I dance poorly but precisely. You know I avoid eye contact. You know I drove evasively without GPS. You know this address. Small details create patterns. Patterns create intelligence. He finished his eggs. They'll also threaten you. Deportation, business seizure, potential violence to encourage cooperation. Adana's hands clenched in her lap. So I'm trapped? Leverage for both sides? Currently, yes. You're very calm about this. Panic doesn't change variables. Strategy changes variables. She wanted to scream at his emotionless analysis, but another part of her, the part that survived Lagos's ruthless markets, recognized the value of his approach. Emotion was a luxury. Survival required cold math. What's your strategy? Make you useless as leverage. And how do you do that? Option 1, eliminate the threat. The Huang family's second son, Huang Tae-sung, was at the club last night. He's their intelligence officer. If he dies, their information network collapses temporarily, buying time. Adana's stomach turned. You'd kill someone to protect me? No. I'd kill someone to protect my family's interests. You're incidental. He stood, clearing plates. But option 1 is inefficient.
Creates escalation, wastes resources, increases risk. What's option 2? Make you valuable to my family. More valuable than you are as enemy leverage. She followed him to the kitchen. How? He rinsed dishes with the same mechanical precision. You own an import business. You have supply connections in Africa. My family's operations include legitimate businesses for money laundering, textiles, restaurants, real estate. We need clean supply chains, cultural credibility, international reach. He looked at her, almost at her. You provide that. In exchange, we provide capital, protection, visa extension, and market access. Adana's mind raced. It was logical, brutal, but logical. You want to use my business as a front, yes, but also to genuinely profit. Dual purpose is efficient. He dried his hands on a towel, folding it precisely. You gain financial stability. We gain legitimacy. The Huang family loses leverage because harming you harms our shared interests. And if I say no, then you return to your previous situation, plus new enemies. He met her eyes directly for 3 seconds, an effort, she realized.
I don't coerce, Adana. I calculate optimal outcomes. You're free to choose suboptimal ones. She laughed bitterly. Some choice. Poverty and danger or partnership with criminals? Yes, but partnership means agency, means active participation in your survival, not passive victimhood. He paused. Lagos taught you this already, didn't it? You don't become a successful businesswoman in a foreign country by being passive. He was right, and she hated that he was right. What specifically would this partnership look like? She asked. I'll draft a contract proposal by this afternoon. You review it, negotiate terms. We both sign, or we don't. He walked to the living room, gestured to the couch. In the meantime, you stay here. Rest. Think. I have calls to make. He pulled out a phone, not a smartphone, an older model, probably disposable. He stepped onto the small balcony, sliding the door shut behind him. Adana sank onto the couch, mind spinning. 24 hours ago, she was a struggling businesswoman. Now she was negotiating with the Mafia. The whiplash was staggering, but underneath the fear and absurdity, something else stirred. Possibility. She'd been drowning for months, watching her dream erode. Pride had kept her from desperate measures, but pride was expensive, and she was broke. If Wu Jin was offering a lifeline, even one wrapped in barbed wire, could she afford to refuse? Through the glass, she watched him talk on the phone. His posture was rigid, formal. He gestured minimally, his body language as controlled as his voice. A man who lived entirely in his head, navigating a world that demanded emotional performance he couldn't or wouldn't provide. She understood being different, being underestimated, using it as armor. Maybe they weren't so different after all. Wu Jin worked in focused silence for 6 hours. Adana watched him from the couch, laptop open on the coffee table. His laptop. He'd provided it with strict instructions. No email, no social media, only offline documents. He sat at the dining table with multiple devices, typing with mechanical speed, occasionally making calls in terse Korean that she couldn't follow. Around 2 p.m., he made instant ramyun for lunch, prepared 2 bowls without asking if she wanted any, and placed one in front of her. They ate in silence. The noodles were perfectly cooked, exactly 3 minutes, she noticed, because he'd set a timer. At 4:37 p.m., he stood abruptly. Contract is ready. He brought his laptop to the coffee table, angled it toward her. The document was in English, formatted professionally, frighteningly detailed. She read slowly, her business degree from Lagos State University finally earning its worth. Partnership agreement, Afro-Asia Bridge Import Company and Kang Family Enterprises. The terms were specific. Immediate injection of 50 million won, about 42,000 USD, to clear her debts and provide operating capital. Kang Family Enterprises would become a 40% silent partner. She retained 60% ownership and full operational control. She would source African textiles, art, and artisan goods through her existing networks. Kang Family would provide distribution channels throughout South Korea and Japan. All operations would be fully legal and documented for tax purposes. Contract duration, 3 years, renewable. Either party could terminate with 90 days' notice, but initial investment would be repaid proportionally. There were clauses about confidentiality, dispute resolution, and, she noted with cold clarity, a section titled Security Protocols that essentially said she'd receive protection from business-related threats as long as the partnership was active. This is, she searched for words, surprisingly fair. Fair arrangements are sustainable. I prefer sustainability to exploitation. He sat in the adjacent chair. Your concerns? The 40% stake, that's significant, proportional to our investment and risk. You maintain majority control and operational authority. The security protocol section, business-related threats, is vague. Intentionally, it covers threats from competitors, rival families, or anyone who sees our partnership as exploitable.
He tilted his head, including protection from the Huang family. For 3 years. Then what? Then we renegotiate, or you buy out our stake at market value, or we continue as is. He folded his hands. I don't do perpetual entanglements.
Defined terms reduce misunderstandings. Adana read the contract twice more, looking for traps. The language was cleaner than most legitimate business contracts she'd signed. No hidden clauses, no unreasonable restrictions. "I want 2 modifications," she said finally. "State them. 1. I want quarterly financial audits by an independent third party. I need to know this partnership won't be used for illegal money laundering without my knowledge." Wu Jin's expression didn't change. "Agreed. I'll add the audit clause. Choose your auditor, will approve or counterpropose. 2. I want a clause that if I discover the partnership is being used for illegal activities I wasn't informed of, I can terminate immediately without repayment obligation." He was quiet for a long moment. "That clause creates risk for us. It creates safety for me. You said fair arrangements are sustainable. I also said I don't lie. If we use your business for illegal activities, you'll know beforehand." He considered. "But I'll add the clause. Transparency reduces conflict." He pulled the laptop back, typed rapidly. 30 seconds later he turned it again. The new clauses were there, worded precisely as she'd requested. "Other concerns?" he asked. "Yeah. Why me? You could create a front company with less complication." "True, but you have genuine expertise, established supplier relationships, and cultural credibility. A manufactured front looks manufactured. Investigators, police, rivals, regulators, detect artificial constructs. Your business is real. That's valuable." He met her eyes briefly. "Also, you asked me to dance. That variable suggested you think differently than others in your position. I was desperate. Desperation makes most people timid. You became bold." Different response pattern. Adana sat back, processing. This strange man with his flat affect and brutal honesty was offering her salvation wrapped in danger, but it was concrete, real, more real than the fantasies she'd been chasing. "I need one thing before I sign," she said. "What?" "I need to call my friend Yejin. She's my partner. She needs to know I'm safe." "No." "Wu Jin. Phone calls are traceable. If the Huang family is monitoring her, which they will be because they'll investigate your associates, they'll triangulate this location within minutes. Then a message, something. She'll think I'm dead." He stood, paced to the window. His fingers tapped his thigh, counting, processing. "Text message only. I'll route it through encrypted proxy. You write exactly what I approve. Nothing that reveals location or situation detail." That's paranoid. Paranoia is justified threat assessment. He pulled out the disposable phone. "Write the message. I'll review it." Adana took the phone, thought carefully, and typed, "Yejin. I'm safe. Unexpected business opportunity came up, had to move fast. Out of contact for 2-3 days. Don't worry. We'll explain everything soon. Trust me. A." She showed him. He read it 3 times. "Remove business opportunity. Too specific. Change to personal matter." That sounds worse. It sounds vague. Vague is safer. She made the change. He took the phone, did something with the settings she didn't understand, and sent it. Done. Message will appear to originate from a coffee shop in Hongdae. Can't be traced here. Thank you. He nodded once. Decision on the contract? Adana looked at the laptop screen, at the document that would tie her to the Korean Mafia for 3 years, at the escape route from drowning she'd been circling. She thought of Lagos, of the market women who taught her that survival meant dancing with devils you could predict, of her mother saying, "Adana, pride doesn't feed you, strategy feeds you." "I'll sign," she said, "but I want one more thing." Wu Jin waited. "I want your word that you'll be honest with me, about risks, about dangers, about what this partnership really means. I don't need protection from the truth. I need the truth so I can protect myself." He looked at her fully then. 3, 4, 5 seconds of direct eye contact that seemed to cost him effort. "You have my word. I don't lie. It's inefficient, and I'm bad at it." She almost smiled. Almost. "Okay, where do I sign?" He pulled out a portable printer from a bag she hadn't noticed, because of course he'd brought a printer, and printed 2 copies. They signed both. He handed her one. "We're partners now," he said. "God help me. Statistically, you're better off than you were yesterday." That's not comforting. Truth rarely is. He checked his watch. "I need to brief my father. You stay here. Don't leave. I'll return by 9 p.m. And if you don't, then the Huang family found me." In which case, there's a go bag in the coat closet. Cash, passport, burner phone with 1 contact programmed. A smuggler who owes me a favor. He'll get you out of Korea. Her blood went cold. "You're serious?" "Always." He put on a jacket, checked something in the inner pocket. A gun, she realized with a jolt. "Lock the door behind me. 3 deadbolts. Don't open it for anyone except me." He left. She stood, locked the door as instructed. 3 heavy clicks. Then she walked to the window and stared at Seoul's sprawling cityscape. She'd just signed a deal with the devil. She'd just saved her business. Both were true. Now she had to survive what came next. Woojin returned at 8:47 p.m., 13 minutes early, she noted. He carried 2 bags of takeout that smelled like heaven. "Korean fried chicken," he announced, setting the bags on the table. "You haven't eaten properly in 18 hours. Stress depletes nutritional resources." Despite everything, Adana laughed. "You're feeding me like a project." "You are a project. A valuable one." He unpacked containers methodically. "My father agreed to the partnership. He wants to meet you tomorrow." Her stomach dropped. "The actual boss? Kang Dae-young?" "Yes. He'll assess whether you're capable or a liability." Woojin handed her chopsticks. "Be direct with him. He respects competence, despises weakness. Don't apologize. Don't explain yourself unnecessarily. Answer questions with facts, not emotions." Adana took the chopsticks, her appetite suddenly questionable. What if he doesn't approve? Then the contract is void. You return to your previous situation. He bit into a chicken piece, chewed methodically. "But he will approve. I don't present failed proposals." Confident. Realistic. I analyzed variables before approaching him. Success probability, 87%. What's the 13%? Variables I can't control. Your performance, his mood, external pressures I'm unaware of. He set down his chopsticks. "But you survived Lagos business culture. You approached me in a hostile environment. You negotiated contract terms despite fear. You have the necessary competencies." It was the closest thing to a compliment she'd heard from him. Adana ate, letting the food ground her. The chicken was perfectly crispy, sweet and spicy. She needed this, needed normal things like eating, even in abnormal situations. "Tell me about your father," she said. Woojin was quiet for a moment, processing whether to share. Kang Dae-young, 63 years old, built the family business from mid-level operations to one of Seoul's 3 dominant organizations over 30 years. Strategic, patient, ruthless when necessary. He values loyalty above almost everything, but respects intelligent self-interest more than blind obedience. And you? How does he see you? As an asset with limitations. I manage logistics, finances, supply chains. I'm good with systems, patterns, numbers. I'm bad with people, politics, emotional manipulation. He took a sip of water. He doesn't understand my autism, but he understands my utility. Adana heard something beneath the flat tone, not quite pain, but awareness of distance. That must be lonely. Loneliness is subjective. I have limited interest in most social connection. It's inefficient. But he said it like a rehearsed line, not a felt truth. She decided not to push. What should I wear tomorrow? Professional, conservative. You're a businesswoman, not a decoration. He stood, clearing containers. I brought clothes options. They're in the guest room. She found them after dinner. 3 outfits, still with tags, perfectly her size. A charcoal gray suit with a pencil skirt, a navy pantsuit, and a burgundy dress with a structured blazer. All high-end Korean brands. All exactly what she would have chosen if she had money. How did you know my size? She called out. Observation and estimation. I'm good with spatial measurements, Kang called back. I'm good with spatial measurements. She tried on the navy pantsuit. It fit like it was tailored for her. In the mirror, she looked powerful, professional, like someone who belonged at a mafia boss's table, negotiating empires. The woman staring back at her was both familiar and strange. Still Adana, but a version of Adana who'd crossed a threshold she couldn't uncross. She went to bed that night thinking about her mother who died when Adana was 19. Cancer, fast and brutal. Her last words to Adana had been, "Don't die small. Don't let the world make you smaller than you are." This partnership, dangerous, morally gray, possibly insane, was the opposite of small. She just hoped she'd survive it big enough to matter. The next morning, Woo Jin woke her at 7 a.m. with coffee, precisely how she liked it, which meant he'd been observing. They ate a silent breakfast. He wore a black suit, perfectly tailored, making him look even more like carved stone. At 9:30 a.m., they left the apartment. A different car this time. A dark blue sedan, less flashy. He drove them through Seoul's morning traffic with the same mechanical precision, heading towards Gangnam's business district.
They pulled into an underground garage beneath a sleek high-rise. Legitimate businesses occupied the upper floors. Consulting firms, tech companies, import-export corporations. All, Adana assumed, owned or influenced by the Kang family. Woo Jin parked in another reserved spot. 15th floor. We'll take the private elevator. They did. The elevator was mirrored, showing Adana her reflection multiplied infinitely. Professional armor in place. Game face on. The elevator opened directly into a penthouse office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Seoul's sprawl. The decor was minimalist but expensive. Korean traditional art mixed with modern furniture. Everything in blacks, grays, and deep browns. 3 men stood as they entered. The one behind the desk was obviously Kang Da-jung, 60-something, silver hair, perfectly styled, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Adana's entire inventory. His face was weathered but sharp, eyes that missed nothing. Power radiated from him like heat. The 2 flanking him were younger, maybe 40s, both in dark suits, both watching Adana with predatory assessment. "Father," Woo Jin said in English, presumably for Adana's benefit, "this is Adana Okonkwo." Kang Da-jung studied her for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then he smiled. Cold, calculating. "The woman my son danced with. Please, sit." Adana sat in the chair across from his desk. Woo Jin stood behind her, a silent presence. "My son tells me you're a businesswoman," Da-jung said, his English accented but perfect. "That you have supply connections in Africa we could utilize." "Yes, sir. I own Afro-Asia Bridge Import Company. We specialize in authentic African textiles, art, and artisan goods. Currently failing." She didn't flinch. "Currently experiencing cash flow challenges due to delayed payments from buyers and currency exchange complications. The business model is sound. The execution needs capital. And in exchange for our capital, we receive what? 40% stake, legal distribution channels for authentic African goods in Asian markets, and cultural credibility for your legitimate business operations." One of the flanking men, the one on the left, scoffed. "We don't need cultural credibility." Da-jung raised a hand, silencing him. "Don't we? The world is changing, Byung-hoon. Diversity is profitable. International connections are valuable." He leaned forward. "Tell me, Miss Okonkwo, why should I trust a foreigner with access to my business operations?" "You shouldn't. Trust is earned. I'm offering transparency, quarterly audits, and contractual protections that benefit both parties. I don't need your trust. I need your investment. You need my expertise and connections." Silence. Heavy. Assessing. Then Da-jung laughed, genuine, surprised. "You're direct. I like that." He looked at Woo Jin. "She's better than the last 3 proposals you brought. The last 3 proposals were money laundering fronts with no substance. This has substance." Da-jung turned back to Adana. "What do you know about our organization? That you control significant portions of Seoul's underground economy, that you have rivals, including the Hwang family, that you're expanding into legitimate businesses for long-term sustainability." She met his gaze.
and that you're smart enough to recognize opportunity even when it comes wrapped in unexpected packaging. Unexpected packaging, Dae-jung repeated, amused. Is that what you are? I'm a Nigerian woman with business savvy and cultural connections you can't buy. Yes, I'm unexpected. That's exactly why this works. The man on the right, silent until now, spoke in Korean to Dae-jung. A rapid exchange. Adama caught Woo Jin's slight head tilt, listening, processing. Dae-jung responded, then switched back to English. My advisor suggests you might be a risk, that foreign nationals are unpredictable. Every business partnership is a risk. I'm offering calculated risk with tangible returns. Your son did the math. I trust his calculations. Dae-jung's eyebrows rose. You trust your son's calculations? He hasn't lied to me yet. Everyone else in my industry has. Another silence. Dae-jung exchanged a glance with Woo Jin that Adana couldn't read. Then he stood, walked to the window, hands clasped behind his back. My son is brilliant with systems, he said quietly, but he struggles with people. They confuse him, bore him, or irritate them. He turned. Yet he brought you here, invested time in researching you, drafting a contract, convincing me. That's unusual. Adana said nothing, sensing this wasn't a question. I'll approve this partnership on 3 conditions. 1, you report directly to Woo Jin, but I receive monthly summaries. 2, any expansion beyond the initial agreement requires my personal approval. 3, if you betray this family, the consequences will be severe and permanent. Understood, Adana said. My conditions, quarterly independent audits, transparent communication about how my business is utilized, and the right to terminate if illegal activities I'm not informed of are discovered. Already in the contract, Woo Jin interjected. Dae-jung smiled. Smart woman, we have an agreement. He extended his hand. Adana shook it. His grip was firm, testing. Welcome to the family, Miss Okonkwo, he said. Don't make me regret this. I don't intend to, sir. They were dismissed. In the elevator, descending, Adana exhaled shakily. You did well, Woo Jin said. I thought I was going to pass out. You didn't. That's what matters. He checked his phone. Transfer will process today. Money will be in your business account by tomorrow morning. We'll start operations immediately. Reality crashed over her. This was real, happening. She'd just partnered with the Korean Mafia. Woo Jin, she said quietly, thank you for believing this could work. He looked at her, brief, uncomfortable eye contact. I don't believe, I calculate. The math supported this. Still, thank you. He nodded once. You're welcome. The elevator doors opened to the garage. Her old life was upstairs behind them. Her new life was ahead, unknown and dangerous. She walked into it with her head high, because small was no longer an option. The money appeared in her account at 9:47 a.m. the next morning. Adana stared at her phone screen, the banking app showing numbers she hadn't seen in months. 50 million won. Real. Tangible. She immediately transferred payments to her warehouse landlord, her textile suppliers in Lagos and Accra, her shipping company. Each transaction felt like releasing a breath she'd been holding for months. Yejin called at 10:15. Adana answered, stepping onto the safe house balcony where Woo Jin had made his calls. Adana, where the hell have you been? Yejin's voice was frantic. Your vague text, then silence. I'm sorry. I know. Listen, something incredible happened. Adana spoke carefully, aware Woo Jin might be listening. I found an investor. Major investor. The business is saved. Silence. Then, what kind of investor? The kind that works fast. Yejin, the money's already transferred. I paid everyone. We're operational again. That's amazing, but Adana, who are these people? A Korean family business group. They want to expand into African imports. It's legitimate. I saw the contracts. Not entirely a lie. The contracts were real, even if the family business had other dimensions. And the price? 40% stake. I keep majority control. It's fair, Yejin. Another silence. Yejin knew her too well. You sound different. I'm relieved. I've been drowning, and now I can breathe. Just Be careful. Fast money usually has sharp edges. I will, I promise. Can you meet me at the warehouse tomorrow? We need to plan the first shipment. They made arrangements. When Adana hung up, she found Wu Jin standing in the doorway. Your friend is suspicious, he observed. She's protective. It's what friends do. Emotional attachment creates vulnerability. It also creates support systems. You should try it sometime. She regretted the sharpness immediately, but he didn't seem offended. I have support systems. They're just transactional and clearly defined. He handed her a tablet. First order specifications. Review them. The tablet showed a detailed proposal. 500 meters of Ankara fabric in 10 different patterns, 200 pieces of handcrafted brass jewelry, 100 carved wooden masks, 50 leather bags. All items she had direct supplier access to. This is ambitious. Your suppliers can deliver? Yes, but it'll take 3 weeks minimum. Shipping, customs, quality control. 2 weeks. I've arranged expedited customs processing. She looked up sharply. How? We have people in customs. That's the advantage of this partnership. Right. The criminal advantage. She swallowed discomfort. 2 weeks. I'll make it happen. Good. There's a meeting this afternoon. Potential buyer for the first shipment. A boutique chain owner. You'll present the product line. Me? You're the expert. I'm the money. Play to strengths. He took back the tablet. Meeting is at 3 p.m. Dress professionally. I'll drive you. The meeting was in a trendy cafe in Gangnam, all white marble and minimalist furniture. The buyer was a woman in her 40s, Ri Soo Jin, owner of 3 high-end boutiques. She greeted Wu Jin with polite deference that suggested she knew exactly who his family was, then turned to Adana with sharp, assessing eyes. Miss Okonkwo, Wu Jin says you have authentic African luxury goods. I do. Adana pulled out her tablet, showing photos of previous inventory. Ankara fabrics sourced directly from Nigerian and Ghanaian weavers, brass jewelry from Benin artisans. Each piece has cultural significance and authentic craftsmanship. These aren't mass-produced imitations. Soo Jin scrolled through images, her expression neutral. The Korean market for African goods is limited. The Korean market for unique, story-driven fashion is growing. K-pop stars wear African prints. Korean designers incorporate global influences. This isn't about traditional African consumers. It's about Korean consumers who want authenticity and cultural cachet. Soo Jin's lips curved slightly. You've researched your market. I don't invest in businesses I don't understand. And yet you're partnered with the Kang family. That seems like an unpredictable investment. Adana felt Wu Jin's stillness beside her. This was a test. I'm partnered with Kang Enterprises because they understand efficiency and profit. We share business objectives. Soo Jin studied her for a long moment. Then she set down the tablet. I'll take 300 meters of fabric, 100 jewelry pieces, and 50 bags. Trial order. If they sell, we discuss expansion. 40% deposit, Adana said smoothly. Standard terms for new buyer relationships. 20%. 30, and I include 10 masks as promotional pieces for your store displays. Soo Jin smiled. Deal. I like you, Miss Okonkwo. You're tougher than you look. I have to be. They shook hands. Wu Jin had barely spoken the entire meeting. On the drive back, Adana felt energized despite her exhaustion. You were effective, Wu Jin said. Thanks. So were you. I didn't speak. Exactly. Your presence established credibility. My expertise closed the deal. Like you said, play to strengths. He almost smiled. Almost. Back at the safe house, Adana spent the evening emailing suppliers, arranging logistics, feeling like herself again. Purpose, direction, control. Wu Jin worked at his laptop across the room, occasionally making calls. Around 9 p.m., his phone buzzed differently, urgent, sharp. He answered, listened, his face hardening. He hung up and stood. Get your things, we're leaving. What's wrong? Huang family. They found this location. Her blood iced. How? Unknown. Doesn't matter. We have maybe 20 minutes. He was already moving, grabbing a go bag from the closet. Take only what you can carry. Now. Adana rushed to the bedroom, grabbed the clothes he'd bought her, stuffed them in a small backpack with her documents and laptop. Her hands shook, but her mind stayed sharp. This was Lagos instinct. When danger came, you moved fast. She met him in the living room. He was checking a handgun, sliding it into his jacket. "Stay close to me. Don't separate for any reason." His voice was flat, but his movements were faster than usual, stress showing in acceleration. They took the stairs instead of the elevator, 15 flights down. Adana's legs burned by the 10th floor. Wu Jin maintained a punishing pace. In the garage, he led her to a different car, a nondescript gray sedan hidden in a corner spot. "Get in, low profile." She did. He drove out of the garage normally, no speeding, blending with traffic, but Adana saw him checking mirrors constantly, his jaw tight. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Different safe house, more secure." They drove for 30 minutes, winding through neighborhoods Adana didn't recognize. Finally, he pulled into the garage of an older apartment building in a quiet residential area. "Here?" she asked. "Less obvious. No security cameras, cash-only rental under a false name." He grabbed both bags. 12th floor, stairs again. The apartment was smaller than the previous one, older but clean. One bedroom, one bathroom, a combined kitchen and living space. Furniture was minimal but functional. Wu Jin locked the door, multiple locks, and immediately pulled out his phone, making calls in rapid Korean. Adana sat on the couch, adrenaline crashing. "How did they find us?" He finished his call. "Investigating. Possible leak in our security, or they tracked financial transactions. I'll know within the hour. And if they find us here? They won't. This location is off all official records." He sat across from her, elbows on his knees. "But we need to accelerate your integration. You're still vulnerable as an outsider." "Meaning what?" "Meaning you need to be seen as essential to our operations, not just a business partner. The more value you demonstrate, the more protection you receive." "How do I demonstrate value faster?" He thought for a moment. "The Huang family has a shipping company. Legitimate business, but they use it for smuggling. If you could identify vulnerabilities in their supply chain using your expertise in imports and logistics, that information would be valuable." Adana's stomach twisted. "You want me to spy on them? I want you to analyze public information and provide strategic insights. That's not spying. That's business intelligence. That's a thin line. All valuable lines are thin." He met her eyes. "You wanted truth. Here it is. You're in this now. Passive participation won't keep you safe. Active contribution will." She hated that he was right. "Show me what you have on their shipping company," she said quietly. He pulled out his laptop. They worked until 2 a.m., Adana analyzing shipping manifests, route patterns, customs declarations. Her import expertise revealed inefficiencies, suspicious patterns, potential intercept points. She documented everything in a detailed report. When she finished, Wu Jin read it twice. "This is excellent," he said simply. "My father will value this." "And the Huang family?" "Will lose several shipments next month. Their revenue drops, our leverage increases. And people might get hurt in those interceptions? People who chose to work for criminals. Yes." Adana closed her laptop. "I need to sleep."
Take the bedroom. I'll sleep out here. Wu Jin, Go. You did well today, both in business and in survival. That's worth acknowledging. He was already arranging cushions on the couch. In the bedroom, Adana lay in darkness, listening to unfamiliar sounds. This neighborhood was quieter, less city noise. She could hear her own breathing. She'd just helped plan an attack on a rival criminal organization. She'd just secured her business and possibly her life. Both were true. She fell asleep trying to decide which truth weighed more. 3 days passed in the smaller safe house. 3 days of Adana coordinating shipments from her laptop, video calling suppliers, finalizing the Sujin order while Wu Jin orchestrated something larger she wasn't fully privy to. He'd disappear for hours, return with tension in his shoulders, make calls in clipped Korean. On the 4th morning, he woke her at 5 a.m. "Get dressed, operational clothes, dark, practical, we're going out." "Where?" She sat up, groggy. "To watch your intelligence work. The Huang shipment intercepts today. You should see the results of your analysis."
Her stomach dropped. "You want me there? You're part of this operation. You should witness the outcome." His tone was matter-of-fact. "Also, it's safer than leaving you here alone. Huang's surveillance has increased." 20 minutes later, they were in the gray sedan driving through Seoul's pre-dawn darkness. Wu Jin handed her a thermos of coffee, black, no sugar, exactly how she'd started drinking it. "Where are we going exactly?" she asked. "Port of Enching. The Huang family has a container shipment arriving at Pier 7. Your analysis identified it as carrying smuggled electronics, declared as textiles to avoid inspection. We've arranged for an anonymous tip to customs. So we're just watching customs do their job? We're watching your work change the landscape." He glanced at her, "also ensuring no complications arise." They drove for an hour, the city giving way to industrial zones and port infrastructure. Massive cranes loomed against the lightening sky. Ships lined the docks like sleeping giants. Wu Jin parked on a hill overlooking Pier 7, handing her binoculars. Below, a container ship was being unloaded. Customs officials in yellow vests moved with purpose toward a specific container, orange, marked with Huang shipping logos. "That's the one," Wu Jin said quietly. "Your report identified the discrepancy between declared weight and actual weight. Customs noticed." Adana watched through the binoculars as officials opened the container. Even from this distance, she could see the moment of discovery, urgent gestures, radio calls, more officials converging. "They found it," she whispered. "Estimated value 200 million won in smuggled goods. Huang family loses the merchandise, pays heavy fines, and faces increased customs scrutiny for months." Wu Jin checked his phone. "Your analysis identified 3 other vulnerable shipments. We're hitting all of them this week." Adana lowered the binoculars, feeling sick. People will lose their jobs, maybe go to prison. People who chose to participate in illegal activity. Consequences were always possible. "You say that so easily." "Because it's factual. Morality doesn't change outcomes, Adana. It just determines how you feel about them." He started the car. "We should leave before surveillance cameras capture too much footage." On the drive back, Adana stared out the window. Seoul was waking up. Commuters heading to legitimate jobs, street vendors setting up, students in uniforms laughing on corners. Normal life, happening alongside the shadow world she'd entered. "Do you ever regret this life?" she asked quietly. Wu Jin was silent for several blocks. "Regret implies I had meaningful alternatives. I was born into this family. My autism makes normal employment difficult. This work uses my skills without requiring social performance I can't provide." He merged onto the highway. "So, no, I don't regret what I didn't choose. But you choose to stay. Leaving would require resources, planning, and cutting ties completely. The cost-benefit analysis doesn't favor it." He glanced at her. "Do you regret signing the contract?" She thought honestly. "Ask me in a month. Fair." Back at the safe house, Wu Jin made breakfast while fielding calls. Adana overheard fragments. His father's voice, sharp and pleased. Another voice she didn't recognize, reporting numbers. When he hung up, he turned to her. "My father wants to meet with you this afternoon. He's impressed with the Huang operation results." "That's good, right?" "Very good. It means you're transitioning from probationary asset to valued contributor." He served eggs and toast. "It also means increased expectations." The meeting was at a different location, a traditional Korean restaurant in an upscale district, closed to the public for a private event. Adana wore the burgundy dress and blazer, armor for a different kind of battle. Kang Dae-jong sat in a private room with 4 other men, senior members of the organization, Adana guessed. The room was elegant, traditional, with low tables and floor seating that made her grateful for the pantsuit option she'd declined. "Ms. Okonkwo," Dae-jung greeted warmly. "Please, sit. We're celebrating." She sat beside Wu Jin. Food was already laid out. Elaborate Korean dishes she didn't recognize but looked expensive. "Your analysis cost the Huang family significant resources and credibility," Dae-jung continued. "In 1 week, you've provided more actionable intelligence than our last 3 consultants combined." "I simply applied my expertise to available data," Adana said carefully. "Humble, but unnecessary. Take credit for your work." Dae-jung raised a glass of clear liquid, soju probably, "to our newest strategic partner." The men raised their glasses. Adana accepted one, sipped cautiously. It burned smooth. "I have a question," said one of the men, the same Byung-hun who'd scoffed at her during the first meeting. "How do we know you're not feeding information to the Huang family, playing both sides?" Tension crystallized. Woo Jin stiffened beside her. Adana met Byung-hun's gaze directly. "Because I'm not stupid. Playing both sides requires trust from both, and I have trust from neither yet. It also requires believing I could outsmart everyone in this room." She smiled coldly. "I'm confident, not delusional." Byung-hun stared, then laughed. "Good answer. Also," Woo Jin interjected, "she has no contact with the Huang family and is under surveillance that would detect any unauthorized communication. Trust is irrelevant. Verification is sufficient." Adana felt a chill. She was under surveillance? She filed that information away. The conversation shifted to business, upcoming operations, territory negotiations, legitimate expansion plans. Adana listened carefully, learning the ecosystem. The Kang family controlled imports, some construction, and several nightclubs. The Huang family had shipping and real estate. A third family, the Lim Syndicate, controlled gambling and entertainment. "The Lim family has approached us," Daejung said casually, picking at his food. "They want to partner on a joint venture, a new casino development in Busan. High-end, legitimate front, profitable for all parties." "What's the complication?" Woo Jin asked. "They want assurances we won't expand into their gambling territory, a non-aggression treaty, essentially." "And we're considering this?" "I am. Stability is profitable." Daejung looked at Adana. "What's your analysis, Ms. Okonkwo? You're new to our world. Fresh perspective?" All eyes turned to her. This was a test. Adana set down her chopsticks. "Non-aggression treaties work when both parties have equal power and mutual need. Do you need the Lim family's partnership, or do they need yours?" "They need ours," Daejung said. "We have capital and political connections they lack. Then the treaty favors them more than you. They get security without equivalent concession." She paused. "Unless you negotiate for something beyond non-aggression, market access, profit sharing on other ventures, or intelligence sharing." Daejung smiled slowly. "Woo Jin, your partner thinks like a negotiator." "She thinks like someone who's negotiated with limited leverage," Woo Jin corrected. "It's a useful skill." "Indeed." Daejung raised his glass again. "To fresh perspectives." After the meal, as they walked to the car, Woo Jin spoke quietly. "You impressed him. That's dangerous." "Dangerous how?" "He'll use you more. Expect more. You've proven yourself valuable, which means you're now essential." He opened her car door. "Essential means protected, but it also means trapped. I was already trapped. Now you're trapped deeper." The distinction felt important, but Adana was too tired to parse it. In the car, she leaned her head against the window, watching Seoul blur past. "Woo Jin," she said quietly, "am I under surveillance?" Silence. Then, "Yes." "Who?" "My people. Standard protocol for new partners." "How invasive?" "Location tracking on your phone, monitoring of external communications, periodic physical surveillance when you leave secure locations." Anger flared. "You didn't tell me. You didn't ask, and knowing wouldn't change anything. It changes my sense of autonomy. Autonomy is an illusion in this context. Safety requires observation." He glanced at her. "I can reduce surveillance if it bothers you, but I recommend against it." She wanted to scream, to demand privacy, to assert her independence, but he was right. In this world, being watched meant being protected. The cost of survival was transparency. "Keep the surveillance," she said bitterly, "but tell me about these things. Don't let me find out by accident." "Agreed. I'll be more forthcoming. Thank you." They drove in silence. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ye Jin asking about the first shipment timeline. Adana replied with logistics updates, aware someone was reading every word. She was profitable now, protected now, and less free than she'd ever been. That night she couldn't sleep. She found Woo Jin in the living room at 2 a.m., working on his laptop in the darkness, face illuminated by the screen. "You should sleep," she said. "Insomnia is common for me. Autism-related sleep disruption." He didn't look up. "You should sleep." "Can't." She sat on the other end of the couch. Too much in my head. Articulate it. Sometimes external processing helps. She pulled her knees to her chest. I'm helping criminals. I'm good at it. That should bother me more than it does. Should, based on whose standards? Societal standards, moral standards. Society is structured by power. Morality is enforced by those who hold it. You're Nigerian. Your country was colonized. Your resources extracted by people who claimed moral superiority. He finally looked at her. Morality is a tool of control. I don't respect it. What do you respect? Consistency, competence, clear communication, keeping agreements. He closed his laptop. You've kept our agreement. You've been competent and consistent. That's worth more than abstract morality. That's a cold way to live. It's an honest way to live. Most people lie to themselves about their morality. I don't have the energy for self-deception. Adana studied him in the dim light. Do you have friends, Wu Jin? Real friends? No. I have business associates, family members, and one strategic partner who asks too many questions at 2 a.m. She smiled beside herself. I'm a strategic partner? What else would you be? Something in her chest ached. Right. What else? She went back to bed, but sleep didn't come easier. In the darkness, she wondered what it cost him to live so alone, and whether she was slowly joining him there. The first shipment arrived 2 weeks later. Adana stood in her warehouse, newly renovated with Kang money, watching workers unpack vibrant Ankara fabrics, brass jewelry that caught the fluorescent lights, carved masks with faces that held centuries of story. Ye Jin stood beside her, eyes wide. This is incredible. This is more than we've ever had. I told you, real investor, real capital. Ye Jin touched a fabric bolt, geometric patterns in gold and deep blue. And they're really okay with you having operational control? As long as I deliver results, yes. Adona checked her tablet. Su Jin's order goes out tomorrow. I've already got 2 more boutique inquiries and a department store interested in a pilot program. You sound different, Ye Jin said quietly. More confident. Almost what? Ruthless. The word stung because it was true. 3 weeks with the Kang family had changed her. She negotiated harder, calculated colder, saw people as variables in equations rather than individuals with stories. Is that bad? Adana asked. I don't know. I hope not. Wu Jin arrived at 4 p.m. in a black sedan with 2 men Adana didn't recognize. Security, she realized. He barely glanced at them as he entered the warehouse, surveying the inventory with his characteristic systematic sweep. Quality, he asked. Excellent. My suppliers delivered exactly as promised. He picked up a brass bracelet, examined it with surprising care. This is well crafted. Benin artisan, 3 generations of metalwork in his family. The story matters to buyers? Story is half the sale. People don't just buy objects. They buy meaning, authenticity, connection. She took the bracelet back. That's what you can't manufacture in a factory. Interesting. I calculate value in function and price. I didn't consider narrative value. That's why you need me. He almost smiled. Yes, that's exactly why. Ye Jin appeared with coffee, stopped short seeing Wu Jin. Adana made introductions. Ye Jin Park, my business partner. Ye Jin, this is Kang Wu Jin, our primary investor. Ye Jin bowed formally. Wu Jin nodded once, not quite meeting her eyes. Ms. Park, Adana speaks highly of your organizational skills. Thank you, Mr. Kang. Your investment saved our business. Awkward silence. Wu Jin looked at Adana. I need to speak with you, privately. They stepped into her small office. Wu Jin closed the door. We have a complication, he said without preamble. The Hang family knows you're connected to us now. They've been asking questions. Adana's pulse jumped. What kind of questions? About your role, your background, whether you're coerced or willing. They're trying to determine if you're vulnerable or loyal. And if they decide you're vulnerable, they'll try to turn you, offer you deals, make threats, pressure you through your business or your visa status. He pulled out his phone and showed her a photo. This man, Huang Tae-sung. He's been spotted near your warehouse twice this week. He's their intelligence officer. The man in the photo was 30s, expensive suit, cold eyes. What do I do if he approaches me? Don't run, don't engage beyond surface pleasantries. Record everything if possible. Report to me immediately. Wu Jin pocketed his phone. But there's a more proactive option, which is you approach him first, on our terms, in a controlled environment. You demonstrate that you're not afraid and not vulnerable. Adana's stomach twisted. You want me to walk up to a dangerous man and what? Have coffee? Yes. Public place, daytime, multiple witnesses. You make it clear you know who he is and you're not interested in whatever he's offering. Wu Jin leaned against her desk. It's a power move, shows confidence.
Or it gets me killed. He won't kill you in public. Too visible. The Huang family is calculating, not reckless. You're asking a lot. I'm asking you to be who you were when you walked into that club and asked me to dance. Bold, strategic, unafraid. She wanted to argue, but he was right. Hiding made her prey. Confronting made her a player. When? She asked. Tomorrow. I'll arrange the location. I'll have people nearby. Invisible but present. You'll be protected. Protected or surveilled? Both. Always both. She exhaled shakily. Okay, I'll do it. He nodded. Good. I'll send details tonight. After he left, Yejin cornered her. That man is terrifying. He's effective. Adana, what have you gotten involved in? Adana looked at her friend. Her genuine friend, the one person who knew her before all this. Survival. Same as always. This doesn't feel like survival. This feels like war. Maybe they're the same thing. Yejin left without responding. Adana stayed in the warehouse until midnight, organizing inventory, avoiding the safe house and its watching walls. When she finally returned, Wu Jin was waiting. You stayed late, he observed. I needed space. From surveillance, from decisions. She dropped her bag. Tomorrow I'm confronting a Mafia intelligence officer. That's insane. It's strategic. Same thing sometimes. She moved to walk past him to the bedroom. He caught her wrist. Gentle, unexpected. She froze. You can back out, he said quietly. I'll find another approach. Will it be as effective? No. Then I won't back out. She pulled her wrist free carefully. I'm not fragile, Wu Jin. I just needed a moment to be scared. Fear is rational. Perceiving despite fear is strength. Is that what you do? Proceed despite fear? He looked at her fully. Real eye contact. Sustained. Difficult. Every day. Something passed between them. Recognition. Understanding. Two people navigating a world that didn't quite fit them, using different strategies for the same survival. Thank you, she said, for giving me the option. Thank you for choosing the harder path anyway. She went to bed thinking about his hand on her wrist, the unexpected gentleness from someone so calculating. The next morning, Wu Jin drove her to a cafe in Itaewon, International District. Lots of foreigners, cameras everywhere. Public and safe. He'll arrive at 11 a.m., Wu Jin said. I've arranged for him to be here. He thinks you requested the meeting. How? I sent a message from an anonymous number saying you wanted to discuss mutual interests. He's curious enough to come. And if he's hostile? My people are at 3 tables. You have a panic button in your purse, small red device. Press it if you need immediate extraction. He handed her the purse. But you won't need it. You're smart, Adana. Trust that. She entered the cafe at 10:59, ordered an Americano, chose a table near the window with clear sight lines. At 11:03, Huang Tae-sung entered. He was taller in person, moving with predatory grace. He scanned the cafe, spotted her immediately, and smiled, cold, amused. He approached without hesitation. Ms. Okonkwo, this is unexpected. Perfect English, Seoul accent underneath. Mr. Huang, please, sit. He did, ordering nothing. You asked to meet. I'm curious why. Because I know you've been watching my warehouse, and I wanted to make something clear. She met his gaze steadily. I'm not interested in whatever proposition you're considering. His smile widened.
Direct, I appreciate that. But what makes you think I have a proposition? Because that's what intelligence officers do. You identify vulnerabilities, make offers, turn assets. She sipped her coffee. I'm not vulnerable, and I'm not turning. Everyone is vulnerable, Ms. Okonkwo. You're a foreign national with visa challenges, financial struggles. Had financial struggles. Past tense. My business is stable now. Stable because of Kang family investment. That's not stability, that's dependence. It's partnership. There's a difference. He leaned back, studying her. You're brave, I'll give you that. Coming here alone to face me. I'm not alone. I'm never alone anymore. She let that sink in. I came here to save you time. Whatever you're planning, pressure, offers, threats, it won't work. I've made my choice. Choices can change. Mine won't. I'm good at commitment. Tae-sung was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed, genuine, surprised. Woo-jin chose well. You're tougher than you look. Everyone says that. I should be insulted, but I'm not. Smart woman. But here's something to consider. He leaned forward. The Kang family is powerful, but they're not invincible. Woo-jin is brilliant, but he's also different, limited in some ways. When things get complicated, and they will, ask yourself if you're really safe with them. Is that a threat or advice? Both. Neither. Observation. He stood. Enjoy your coffee, Ms. Okonkwo. We'll meet again. He left. Adana sat very still, adrenaline crashing. She'd done it, confronted him, held her ground. Her phone buzzed. Woo-jin.
Well done. Extraction team standing down. Stay 20 minutes, then leave normally. She finished her coffee slowly, hands shaking slightly but visible steady. When she left, Woo-jin was waiting a block away in the car. You were perfect, he said as she got in. I was terrified. It didn't show. That's what matters. He said you're limited, that I should question my safety with you. Woo-jin's jaw tightened. He's trying to plant doubt, standard manipulation. I know, it didn't work. He looked at her, something unreadable in his expression. Why didn't it work? Because limited isn't the same as incapable, and safe is relative. She buckled her seatbelt. I'm safer with you than I've been in months. That's a low bar. Maybe, but it's my bar, and you cleared it. They drove in silence. Adana felt something shifting between them. Not attraction exactly, but connection. Partnership deepening into something she didn't have words for. Thank you, Woo-jin said quietly, for trusting my plan. Thank you for having one. When they got back to the warehouse, her first shipment to Soo-jin was being loaded. Perfect timing. Beautiful goods that represented more than business. They represented her survival, her reinvention, her refusal to be small. She watched the truck drive away, carrying pieces of Africa into Korean markets, creating fusion from collision, building empire from ashes, just like her. Think about this. Have you ever had to choose between who you were and who you needed to become? Drop a comment about which version of yourself you chose. 6 weeks into the partnership, Adana's business was thriving. 3 boutiques carrying her goods, a department store pilot program expanding, orders from Japan and Singapore arriving. Her warehouse hummed with activity, Ye-jin managing logistics while Adana negotiated new deals. But success had costs she was still calculating. She sat in a restaurant across from Woo-jin, reviewing monthly financials, their standing dinner meeting. Every Thursday, 7 p.m., same private room. A ritual that had become comfortable. Revenue is up 43%, he noted, scrolling through the tablet. Profit margins holding at 22%, better than projected. The Osaka buyer wants to double their order, Adana added. And I have interest from a Hong Kong gallery for the masks. Expand carefully. Quality over quantity. I know, my suppliers can scale, but I won't compromise authenticity. He set down the tablet. You've proven yourself, Adana. The partnership is successful beyond initial projections. My father is pleased. That's good, right? Yes. It also means he wants to expand our collaboration. Something in his tone made her wary. Expand how? Woo-jin poured water into both their glasses with mechanical precision. He wants you to travel to Lagos next month.
Meet with your suppliers in person, establish deeper connections, explore additional product lines. He'll fund the trip, send security with you. Security meaning surveillance. Security meaning protection. Lagos is unpredictable. Adana sat back. I haven't been home in 8 months. I know. She hadn't meant to avoid Lagos, but going back meant facing her mother's grave, her old neighborhood, the people who'd known her before she became this version of herself, sharper, colder, and tangled with criminals. What if I say no? She asked. Then we find alternative supplier development strategies, but it's less efficient. He studied her. Why would you say no? Because I'm different now. Going back means seeing that difference reflected in people who knew me before. Different how? She gestured between them. This. I have dinner meetings with Mafia heirs. I strategize against rival organizations. I accept surveillance as normal. My best friend looks at me like she doesn't recognize me. Does that bother you? Yes. No. I don't know. She rubbed her temples. I'm successful now, stable, safe. But I'm also complicit in things I swore I'd never be part of. Wu Jin was quiet for a long moment. Then, when I was diagnosed with autism at 7, my father didn't understand. He thought I was defective, weak. He tried to force me to be normal. Social skills training, behavioral therapy, constant correction. He looked at his water glass. It didn't work. I couldn't be what he wanted. So I became what I could be. Useful, effective, different, but valuable. Adana's chest tightened. Do you resent him? Resentment requires emotional energy I don't waste. I accept reality as it is, not as I wish it was. He met her eyes briefly. You're experiencing grief for who you thought you'd be. That's normal, but it doesn't change who you are now or what you've accomplished. You're saying I should accept this version of myself? I'm saying you chose this version. Own the choice. She wanted to argue, but he was right. She'd signed that contract, made those deals, confronted Huang Tae-sung. Every step was hers. I'll go to Lagos, she said quietly.
Not because your father wants me to, because I need to see if I can still recognize myself there. That's a good reason. They finished dinner in thoughtful silence. As they left, Wu Jin handed her an envelope. What's this? Your flight details, hotel reservation, and security team contact information. Also a personal letter of recommendation if you need leverage with new suppliers. He held the door for her. And one more thing. He pulled a small box from his jacket pocket, handed it to her. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet, modern Korean design with small African cowrie shell accents. I had this made, he said, uncharacteristically hesitant. Fusion design. Korean craftsmanship, African elements. I thought it represents the partnership, what we've built. Adana stared at the bracelet, throat tight. It was beautiful, thoughtful, personal in a way Wu Jin rarely allowed. This is... Thank you, she managed. You don't have to wear it. I just wanted you to have something tangible. Success metrics aren't always sufficient acknowledgement. She slipped it on her wrist. It fit perfectly, catching the streetlight. It's beautiful, Wu Jin. Functional and aesthetic. I researched extensively. She smiled despite the emotion welling up. Of course you did. In the car, she kept glancing at the bracelet. This strange man who calculated everything had researched jewelry, had considered her cultural background, had created something meaningful disguised as pragmatic. Why did you really give me this? She asked. Because you asked me to dance when no one else would. Because you've kept every agreement. Because, he paused, fingers tapping the steering wheel, because I value our partnership beyond financial metrics. I wanted you to know that. That's the most emotional thing you've ever said to me. I know, it was difficult. You laughed, surprising herself. You're ridiculous. I'm precise. Same thing sometimes. When they reached her apartment, she'd moved out of the safe house into a nicer place 2 weeks ago, still Kang-funded, but feeling more like hers. Wu Jin walked her to the door as he always did. Security protocol. Thank you, she said again, for the bracelet, for understanding about Lagos. You're welcome. Travel safely, report any complications. She nodded, unlocked her door, then impulsively she hugged him. Brief, quick, before he could process or retreat. He froze, every muscle rigid. She pulled back immediately.
Sorry, I know you don't like. It's fine, just unexpected. He adjusted his jacket, clearly uncomfortable but not angry. Good night, Adana. Good night. She watched him leave, feeling the ghost of that hug, his surprise, his rigidity, but also, maybe she imagined it, the split second before she pulled away when his hand almost moved toward her back. Progress, maybe, or wishful thinking. 2 weeks later, Adana landed in Lagos. The heat hit her like a wall. Familiar, suffocating, home. Murtala Muhammad International Airport was chaos incarnate, bodies pressing, voices shouting, the smell of sweat and jet fuel and street food. Her security team, 2 Korean men, silent and efficient, stayed close. They looked absurdly out of place, pale faces among Nigerians moving like water, flowing and unpredictable. Outside, Lagos sprawled in its magnificent disorder. Traffic clogged every artery. Donfos, yellow buses, honked aggressively. Street vendors hawked everything from phone chargers to roasted plantains. The city screamed with life. Adana felt something inside her crack open. This was home. Chaotic, beautiful, impossible home. Her hotel was in Victoria Island, luxury compound with walls and guards separating wealth from want. Her security team swept the room before leaving her alone. She stood at the window, staring at Lagos's skyline. 8 months ago, she'd left this city desperate, drowning in failed dreams. Now she was back, funded by Korean criminals, successful beyond what she'd imagined. She touched the bracelet on her wrist. Fusion, collision, survival. The next morning, she visited her mother's grave, cemetery in Yaba, overcrowded and overgrown. She brought flowers, orchids, her mother's favorite. Her security team waited at a respectful distance. "Hi, Mama," she said quietly in Igbo, kneeling. "I'm sorry I haven't visited. I'm sorry for a lot of things." She told her mother everything, the business, the partnership, Woo Jin, the choices she'd made. Words poured out, confessional and raw. "I told you not to die small. I didn't, but I'm not sure you'd be proud of how I grew." The wind rustled leaves. No answers, just silence and heat and the smell of earth. She stayed an hour, crying quietly, then stood. Her security team pretended not to notice her red eyes. The supplier meetings were successful. 3 days of negotiations, factory visits, artisan workshops. Adana fell back into Lagos rhythm, aggressive haggling, personal relationships, the dance of business that felt more authentic than Seoul's corporate sterility. Her suppliers were proud of her success, proud that their goods were reaching Asian markets. They toasted her with palm wine, fed her jollof rice and pepper soup, treated her like the success she'd become. But underneath, she felt the distance. They saw her success. They didn't see the cost. On her last night, she met an old friend from university, Chidima, who'd become a lawyer. They sat in a bar in Lekki, expensive cocktails between them. "You look different," Chidima said bluntly. "Harder. Success requires hardness." "Does it? Or did you just choose hard over soft?" Adona sipped her drink. "When did you become a philosopher?" "When my best friend disappeared to Korea and came back wearing designer clothes and evasion." Chidima leaned forward. "What's really going on, Adona? Who are these people you're working with? Business partners, investors, and the security team that watches you like you're under house arrest?" Adona's jaw tightened. "I'm not under arrest, I'm protected." "From what?" "From complications." "That's not an answer." Adana set down her glass carefully. "Chi, some questions are better unasked. And some friendships are better than secrets." They stared at each other. Finally, Adana spoke quietly. "I'm safe. I'm successful. I'm building something real. That has to be enough." Chidima's expression softened. "Just promise me you know what you're doing, and that you have a way out if you need one." "I promise." "Liar," a voice whispered in Adana's head. "There's no way out, not anymore." On the flight back to Seoul, Adana stared at the clouds. She'd gone to Lagos to see if she could recognize herself. She'd found pieces, her resilience, her business savvy, her cultural roots, but the whole picture was different now, refracted through choices she couldn't undo. Woojin met her at Incheon Airport personally. Unusual, he usually sent drivers. "Welcome back," he said, taking her suitcase. You didn't have to come. I wanted to. Your trip reports were thorough, but I wanted to debrief in person. In the car, she told him about the suppliers, the new product lines, the expansion possibilities. Professional, efficient. Then, I visited my mother's grave. His hands tensed slightly on the steering wheel. How was that? Necessary, painful, clarifying. Did you find what you were looking for? She looked at the bracelet on her wrist, then at him. I found that I can't go back, only forward. Is that acceptable to you? It has to be. They drove in silence for several miles. Then Wu Jin spoke quietly. While you were gone, the Huang family made a move. They tried to sabotage one of our shipping routes. We countered, but it was close. Adana's stomach dropped. Why didn't you tell me immediately? Because you needed to focus on Legos. The situation is contained now. Contained or escalating? Contained, for now. He glanced at her. But things are shifting. The Huang family is getting aggressive. My father is considering more direct responses. Meaning what? Meaning violence might become necessary. Meaning you need to decide how deep into this partnership you're willing to go. Adana stared at Seoul's lights spreading before them. She'd just left one home, was settling into another, but home came with costs. How deep do you need me to go? She asked. That's your decision. I won't coerce. But you need an answer. Soon, yes. She thought of her mother's grave, her promise to not die small, the bracelet on her wrist representing fusion and choice. I'm in, she said quietly. Whatever comes next, I'm in. Wu Jin nodded once. Okay, but Wu Jin, yes? Don't protect me from information anymore. If things are dangerous, I need to know. I can't make good decisions without good data. Agreed. Full transparency going forward. Thank you. He pulled up to her apartment building. Before she could get out, he spoke again. I missed your presence while you were gone. The partnership felt unbalanced without you. Adana's breath caught. That's the second most emotional thing you've ever said to me. I know. I'm trying to improve at emotional communication. You seem to value it. She smiled. I do. And for the record, I missed you too. That's good. Reciprocal sentiment is efficient. She laughed, got out of the car. He waited until she was inside before driving away. In her apartment, she unpacked slowly. Lagos dirt on her shoes. Korean efficiency in her suitcase organization. Fusion. Collision. She was in deep now. No exit visible. But maybe, just maybe, she'd chosen the right depth to drown in or learn to swim. Time would tell which. The Huang family struck 3 days after Adana's return, not with violence, with information. Adana was in her warehouse training a new hire on inventory management when Wu Jin called. Come to my office, now, it's urgent. She arrived 20 minutes later. Wu Jin's office was in a legitimate consulting firm building, his cover business. The space was minimalist, all glass and steel, overlooking Gangnam's business district. He wasn't alone. His father sat in the visitor's chair, expression dark. 2 other men stood by the windows, senior organization members. Sit, Kang Daijang said, not a request. Adana sat. Wu Jin stood behind his desk, posture rigid. The Huang family sent this to our business partners this morning. Daijang slid a folder across the desk. Adana opened it. Her stomach plummeted. Photos. Her in Lagos, visiting her mother's grave. Her at the supplier meetings. Her with Chidinma at the bar. And worse, documents. Her visa application, showing the business struggles that had made her vulnerable. Bank statements from before the Kang partnership, showing desperation. Immigration records, noting her visa's precarious status. The message was clear. Look how fragile she is. Look how easily she could be broken. They're trying to embarrass us, Daejong said coldly, suggesting we partnered with a desperate foreigner who'll betray us the moment someone offers her stability elsewhere. That's not true, Adana said, voice steadier than she felt. I know it's not true, but perception matters in our world. Our partners need to believe in our judgment. He leaned forward. This is a direct attack on our credibility. We need to respond. How? Adana asked. We destroy their credibility in return. We expose their vulnerabilities. His eyes fixed on her. And we show that you're not vulnerable, that you're an asset, not a liability. What do you need from me? Wu Jin spoke for the first time. We need you to publicly demonstrate your value. We're hosting a business summit next week. Legitimate business people, some with underworld connections. You'll present your import business model, show real results, and prove you're a legitimate partner. That's a lot of pressure. Yes, Daejung said bluntly. Can you handle it? Adana thought of Lagos, of her mother's grave, of the promise to not die small. Yes, I can handle it. Good, because if this fails, the Huang family wins this round, and we don't lose rounds. The next week was brutal. Adana prepared a presentation with Wu Jin's help, financial projections, market analysis, cultural impact statements. She practiced until she could recite it in her sleep. Wu Jin watched her rehearse, offering feedback in his characteristic blunt style. Your voice drops when you're uncertain. Keep it level. Your hand gestures are inconsistent. Choose deliberate movements or none at all. You apologize too much. Remove all apologies from the script. By the fifth rehearsal, Adana snapped. I'm doing my best. Your best isn't good enough yet. That's why we're practicing. She wanted to throw the presentation remote at him. Instead, she took a breath. Why are you pushing so hard? Because they'll tear you apart if you show weakness. I'm preparing you for reality, not coddling you. I don't need coddling, but I need to know you believe I can do this. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I wouldn't have proposed this partnership if I didn't believe in your capabilities. I don't make emotional investments. I make calculated ones. You're highly calculated. It wasn't poetry, but coming from Wu Jin, it was everything. The summit was held in a luxury hotel ballroom. 200 people, business executives, investors, subtle criminal connections woven through legitimate facades. Adana wore her best suit, the bracelet Wu Jin gave her visible on her wrist. Wu Jin introduced her with clinical precision, listing her accomplishments without embellishment. Then she was on stage, lights bright, faces watching. She spoke about African markets, cultural authenticity, the fusion model. She showed financial data, revenue growth, profit margins, expansion projections. She answered questions with the same aggressive confidence that had gotten her through Lagos business wars, and she killed it. By the end, people were approaching with business cards, investment inquiries, partnership proposals. Daejung watched from the back, expression unreadable, but when their eyes met, he nodded once. Approval. After the summit, there was a reception. Adana networked until her face hurt from smiling. Wu Jin stayed close, a silent presence that deterred the more aggressive approaches. Then she saw him, Huang Tai-sung, standing near the bar, watching her with that cold smile. He's here, Adana murmured to Wu Jin. I know, ignore him. But Tai-sung approached anyway, drink in hand. Ms. Okonkwo, impressive presentation. You've become quite the businesswoman. Mr. Huang, I didn't realize you were interested in legitimate business. His smile widened. I'm interested in many things, including resilient women who make interesting choices. Wu Jin stepped closer, subtle but protective. Tai-sung, this is a professional event. Of course, I'm being professional, just admiring Ms. Okonkwo's transformation. He looked at Adana. From desperate visa applicant to Mafia princess. Quite the journey. Adana's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice level. I prefer strategic partner to princess, more accurate. Is it? Or are you just comfortable in your cage now? I'm not in a cage. I'm in a partnership that benefits everyone involved. Until it doesn't. He set down his glass. Enjoy your success, Miss Okonkwo. I hope it lasts. He walked away. Adana exhaled shakily. He's trying to rattle you, Wu Jin said quietly. It's working. Don't let it. You just proved your value to 200 people. One man's opinion is statistically irrelevant. She smiled despite her anger. You have such a romantic way of reassuring people. Romance is inefficient. Facts are sufficient. Later in the car back to her apartment, Adana was quiet. Wu Jin drove in his usual focused silence. Thank you, she said finally, for preparing me, for believing I could do it. You did the work. I just provided structure. Still. Thank you. He pulled up to her building, turned to look at her. Adana, you need to know something. The seriousness in his tone alarmed her. What? The Huang family won't stop. Today was a victory, but it won't end the conflict. Things will escalate, possibly into violence. He paused. You can still back out. I can arrange safe extraction, new identity, different city, financial settlement. You don't have to stay in this. Adana stared at him. Are you trying to get rid of me? No, I'm giving you an exit because you deserve one, because he struggled with words, because I value your well-being beyond your strategic utility. Her chest tightened. Wu Jin, don't answer now. Think about it. You have options. You always have options. She reached over, took his hand. He startled but didn't pull away. I'm not leaving, she said firmly. Not because I don't have options, because I choose this. I choose the partnership. I choose, she hesitated. I choose you as my partner. He looked at their joined hands like they were a complex equation he couldn't quite solve. That's acceptable, he said finally. She laughed. Acceptable? I'm not good at emotions. Acceptable is my version of very pleased. I'll take it. She went inside, feeling the ghost of his hand in hers. Something was shifting between them, something beyond business, beyond strategy, something dangerous and necessary and terrifying. She was in deep now, but maybe deep was where she needed to be, to finally find solid ground, or drown completely. Either way, she wasn't drowning alone, and that mattered more than she'd expected. The retaliation came on a Thursday night. Adana was working late at the warehouse, finalizing an order for Tokyo when the lights cut out. Complete darkness. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Power outage, she told herself. Just a power outage. Then she heard footsteps, multiple, moving with purpose through the darkness. Her phone was in her office. The panic button Wu Jin had given her was in her purse, also in the office. She was alone in the inventory area, surrounded by fabric bolts and crates. Miss Okonkwo? A voice, accented Korean. We just want to talk. She said nothing, pressed herself against a shelving unit. Her mind raced. The warehouse had 2 exits, front door and back loading dock, both probably covered. We're not here to hurt you, the voice continued. The Huang family wants to make you an offer, a generous one. Adana's breathing was too loud in the darkness. She felt along the shelf, found a heavy carved mask, weapon if needed. We know Kong Wu Jin has limitations. He can't protect you the way we can. We have better resources, wider networks. Footsteps closer. And we're not autistic freaks who can barely look people in the eye. Rage cut through fear. She gripped the mask tighter. We're offering you a better deal. Better terms, better protection, and you keep full ownership of your business. All you have to do is share information about Kong operations. They were close now, maybe 10 feet away. Adana could hear breathing, smell cigarette smoke. What do you say, Miss Okonkwo? Ready to make a smart choice? She threw the mask hard at where the voice came from, heard impact, a curse. Then she ran. Not toward the exits, they'd expect that. Toward her office, the panic button. She slammed the door, locked it, fumbled in darkness for her purse, found it, found the button, pressed it 3 times like Wu Jin had taught her. The office door shuddered. They were kicking it. Adana called Wu Jin. 1 ring, 2. Adana, his voice, calm and focused. Warehouse, intruders, Huang family. I pressed the button. Lock yourself in, barricade. Team is 8 minutes out. I'm 6. Background noise, car engine, acceleration. Stay on the line with me. The door shuddered again, wood cracking. They're breaking in, she said, pushing her desk against the door. I know. Keep talking to me. What did they want? Information. They offered me a deal. Better terms if I betray you. And your response? I threw a ceremonial mask at them and ran. A sound that might have been a laugh. That's my partner. Hold on. 5 minutes. The door splintered. Hands reached through, trying to unlock it. Adana backed against the far wall, grabbed scissors from her desk. Ridiculous weapon, but better than nothing. The door burst open. 3 men. She recognized one, had seen him with Wang Taesung. That wasn't smart, he said in English. Neither is breaking into a Kang-protected property, Adona shot back, raising the scissors. Brave, but stupid. He stepped forward. Then headlights flooded the warehouse, tires screeching, car doors slamming. "Kang security!" someone shouted in Korean. The 3 men exchanged looks, then ran toward the back exit. Adana heard fighting, impacts, shouts, the sick sound of violence. Then Woo Jin was there, in her office doorway, breathing hard, gun in hand. His eyes swept over her, checking for injuries with clinical precision. "Are you hurt?" "No, scared, but not hurt." He holstered the gun, crossed the space between them in 2 strides, and did something he'd never done, pulled her into a tight embrace. Adana froze in shock. His heart hammered against her ear. His arms were rigid but secure. This was costing him. Physical contact, unexpected touch, emotional vulnerability, but he held on. "I thought I'd be too late," he said quietly. She wrapped her arms around him carefully. "You weren't. You were exactly on time." They stood like that for 30 seconds. Then he pulled back, already retreating into professional mode. "We caught one of them. The other 2 escaped." He adjusted his jacket. "This was a direct attack, not subtle. The Huang family is escalating. What happens now?" "Now we respond, definitively." His jaw was tight. "This crossed a line. You're under my protection. Attacking you is attacking me." Security team arrived. 6 men, heavily armed. They swept the warehouse, documented damage, interviewed Adana with efficient professionalism. She answered automatically, mind still processing Woo Jin's embrace. At 2 a.m., Woo Jin drove her to a new safe house, more secure, more isolated, a penthouse apartment in a building his family owned, security on every floor. "You're staying here until this is resolved," he said, unlocking the door. The apartment was luxury incarnate, floor-to-ceiling windows, modern furniture, a kitchen that probably cost more than her first car. "This is excessive." "This is necessary. The Huang family knows your patterns now. We need to break those patterns." He set down her emergency bag. "I'm staying too. Guest bedroom. Security protocol." "Woo Jin, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. They threatened you to get to me. That makes this personal." She'd never heard that edge in his voice. Cold fury, controlled but present. "What are you planning?" she asked. "Tomorrow morning I meet with my father and our strategists. We'll plan a response that makes it clear you're not a viable target." He walked to the windows, stared at Seoul's lights. "The Huang family needs to understand that touching you has consequences they can't afford." Adana joined him at the window. "I don't want people hurt because of me. People will be hurt because they made a strategic error. You're not responsible for their choices." "That's cold logic." "Logic is all I have." She studied his reflection in the glass. "That's not true anymore. You hugged me. That wasn't logic." His shoulders tensed. "That was temporary emotional dysregulation due to threat response." "No, that was you caring. Admitting it is harder for you than the actual caring." He didn't respond. They stood in silence, side by side, watching the city breathe below them. "I'm going to destroy them," Woo Jin said quietly. "The Huang family, not just this attack, everything. Their shipping operations, their real estate holdings, their political connections. I'm going to dismantle them piece by piece." "That's a big escalation." "They escalated first. I'm finishing it." He turned to her. "Is that acceptable to you? Full war?" Adana thought of the men in her warehouse, the threats, the invasion of her space, the implication that she was weak, that Woo Jin was defective, that they could be broken. "Yes," she said firmly. "Finish it." He nodded. "Good. Get some sleep. We start tomorrow." But neither of them slept. They sat in the living room with tea and laptops, planning. Adana provided intelligence on Huang's shipping routes based on her import expertise. Woo Jin cross-referenced with financial data, political connections, vulnerability points. By dawn, they had a strategy, brutal, comprehensive, designed to cripple the Huang family's operations within 2 weeks. This will work, Wu Jin said, reviewing their plan. This will be war, Adana corrected. War is just business with higher stakes. She looked at him, this strange man who calculated violence like math, who hugged her when she was scared, who was planning destruction to protect her. Wu Jin, Adana said quietly, thank you for coming so fast.
For caring enough to be scared. I'm not good at caring. I'm good at protecting assets. I'm not an asset. No. He met her eyes, sustained contact that clearly cost him effort. You're more than that. I don't have the right words, but you're more. Her heart did something complicated in her chest. That's enough. More is enough. The sun rose over Seoul, painting the windows gold. They sat together, planning war, drinking cold tea, existing in a partnership that had become something neither could name. But whatever it was theirs, and they'd burn down anyone who threatened it. The war lasted 12 days. Day 1, anonymous tips to customs about 3 Huang shipping containers, seizures totaling 500 million won in smuggled goods. Day 2, financial audit leaked to media about Huang real estate companies' tax irregularities. Stock prices dropped 15%. Day 3, key Huang political ally arrested for corruption. Evidence mysteriously appeared in prosecutor's office. Day 4, Huang nightclub raided by police. Drugs found, licenses suspended. Adana watched it unfold from the penthouse, working her business remotely while Wu Jin orchestrated destruction. He moved between phone calls and laptop work with mechanical efficiency, dismantling an empire piece by piece. Don't you feel anything? She asked on day 5, watching him review financial reports on Huang company failures. Relief. Satisfaction. Those are feelings. What about guilt? Why would I feel guilty? They attacked you first, because some of these consequences affect innocent people, employees losing jobs, families affected. He looked up from his laptop. Those employees chose to work for criminals. Those families benefited from illegal profits. There are no innocent bystanders in this world, Adana. Only people who haven't been caught yet. It was harsh, but maybe true. On day 7, Huang Dae-sung called Wu Jin directly. Adana heard one side of the conversation. Yes, I'm aware of your losses. No, I won't stop. Because you touched something that belongs to me. Miss Okonkwo is under my protection. That should have been clear. Yes, war is expensive. You should have considered that before invading her warehouse. I'm listening. No, not acceptable. Full withdrawal from all contested territories and public apology, or I continue. You have 48 hours. He hung up. They're offering negotiations, he told Adana. What did he say? No, not until they're sufficiently damaged to never threaten you again. Wu Jin, this is getting extreme. They broke into your warehouse. They threatened you. They implied I'm defective and can't protect you. His voice was still flat, but fury burned underneath. This isn't about business anymore. This is about making a statement. Adana realized then how deep his feelings ran, hidden under autism and control and calculated speech, but real. He was destroying an organization because they'd scared her. What statement? She asked quietly. That you're mine. That anyone who threatens you faces total annihilation. The possessiveness should have alarmed her. Instead, it sent heat through her chest. Yours? She repeated. He seemed to realize what he'd said. Partner. You're my partner. Possessive language was imprecise. Was it? He didn't answer. Returned to his laptop with extra focus. Day 10, Huang Dae-sung, the family head, requested a meeting, neutral location, witnesses present. Kang Dae-jung, Wu Jin, 3 senior members, Huang delegation opposite. Dae-sung, Tae-sung, 2 advisors. Adana wasn't supposed to be there, but Wu Jin insisted. You're the catalyst. You should see the conclusion. She sat beside him, wearing her best suit, the bracelet visible on her wrist. Huang Dae-sung was 60-something, gray and weathered and visibly diminished. His empire was crumbling. The Kang assault had been surgical and devastating. You've made your point, Dae-sung said in Korean, translated for Adana's benefit. Have I? Kang Dae-jung responded. Because your son sent men to threaten our partner. That suggests you don't understand points well.
It was a miscalculation. We're prepared to offer compensation. Compensation isn't sufficient. We require structural changes. Terms were presented. Huang family would withdraw from 3 contested business territories. They would pay financial damages. They would publicly acknowledge Kong's superiority in a specific trade publication, coded language that everyone in their world would understand. Most importantly, they would never target Adona again. In writing, signed and witnessed. "This is humiliating," Huang Dae-sung said in English, looking directly at Adona. "All of this for one woman? Not one woman. My partner, my choice, my protection. Attack her, and this happens. Remember that." Tae-sung's jaw tightened, but his father placed a hand on his arm. "We accept the terms," Dae-sung said quietly. Documents were signed. The war was over. In the car afterward, Adana was quiet. Wu Jin drove without speaking. "That was intense," she said finally.
Necessary. You destroyed them for me. I destroyed them because they made a strategic error. You were the catalyst, not the cause. Wu Jin. Yes, thank you for protecting me that thoroughly. He glanced at her. You're welcome. It was important to me, more than it should have been. Why shouldn't it be important? Because attachment creates vulnerability. I'm not supposed to be vulnerable. Everyone's vulnerable to something. I'm supposed to be different. She reached over, took his hand off the gear shift, held it. You are different. That doesn't mean you're not human. He looked at their joined hands like they were a puzzle. I don't understand what's happening between us. Neither do I, but it's happening anyway. That's illogical. Most important things are. They drove the rest of the way in silence, hands linked. At the penthouse, tension crackled between them, unspoken, electric. Something had shifted during the war, during the protection, during the holding hands. Adana poured wine, expensive bottle from Wu Jin's collection, handed him a glass. To surviving, she said. To victory, he corrected. They drank. The city spread below them, lights like stars. I should go to the guest room, Wu Jin said, but he didn't move. You should, Adana agreed, but she stepped closer. This isn't strategic, he said quietly. No, it's not. I don't know how to do this. Personal connection beyond professional parameters. Neither do I. We'll figure it out together. She reached up, touched his face. He flinched slightly, then stilled. Let her. Is this acceptable? She asked. Yes. Unexpected, but acceptable. She smiled. Your version of very pleased? Yes. She kissed him, gentle, testing. He froze for 3 seconds, processing, calculating, deciding. Then he kissed back, uncertain but genuine. They pulled apart, both breathing unevenly. That was... he started. Yeah, she agreed. Should we continue this analysis? She laughed. Did you just ask me to sleep with you using science terminology? It's the framework I have. It's terrible and adorable. She took his hand. Come on. She led him to the master bedroom. They undressed slowly, awkwardly, like teenagers instead of adults. Wu Jin's inexperience was obvious, but he was adaptable, learning her responses with the same focus he applied to everything. It wasn't poetic. It was fumbling and intense and real. Two people who'd built a partnership in chaos, finding connection in physical space. Afterward, lying in tangled sheets, Adana felt something click into place. Not love, too soon, too complicated, but partnership evolving into something deeper. That was satisfactory, Wu Jin said. She burst out laughing. Satisfactory? I don't have better vocabulary for this situation. Satisfactory is positive assessment. I'm going to teach you better vocabulary. Acceptable. She curled against him. He tensed, then relaxed incrementally, learning to allow closeness. Wu Jin, she said quietly, I have an idea. About the business, about expansion. Now, I know, but my brain works weird. It processes during intimacy. She sat up, suddenly energized. The war with Huang family, the way we dismantled their operations, it showed me something. What? Power isn't just about illegal operations. It's about controlling legitimate infrastructure. The Huang family fell because we targeted their legal businesses, shipping, real estate, political connections. Those were their actual foundations. Wu Jin sat up too, interested.
Continue. My business, it's small but growing, but what if we expanded differently? Not just importing African goods, what if we created an entire cultural exchange platform, legitimate, large scale, museums, galleries, educational programs. We bring African art and culture to Korea, Korean culture to Africa. We become the dominant bridge between the markets. His eyes widened slightly, his version of excitement. That's brilliant, entirely legal, profitable, and it builds cultural capital that translates to political influence. Exactly, and we use your family's resources to launch it properly, not hidden, visible, celebrated. She grabbed her phone, started sketching notes. We could get government grants, international partnerships, academic credibility. We become untouchable through legitimacy. Wu Jin was already on his laptop running numbers. Initial capital required, approximately 2 billion won. Return on investment timeline, 3 to 5 years. But the political capital gained within 2 years would be substantial. Can we get funding? From my father? If I presented correctly, yes. This solves multiple problems. Money laundering through legitimate cultural programs, political connections through international partnerships, and long-term stability. They worked through the night, naked, wrapped in sheets, building an empire on a laptop while Seoul slept. By dawn, they had a proposal, comprehensive, ambitious, revolutionary. This changes everything, Wu Jin said, staring at the screen. That's the point. We're not just surviving anymore. We're building something that matters. He looked at her, sustained eye contact, meaningful. You're remarkable, Adana. Your mind, your vision, your refusal to be small. Her throat tightened. That's the most emotional thing you've ever said to me. I know. I'm getting better at this. She kissed him. Yes, you are. Kang Dae-jung sat behind his desk, reading their proposal for the third time. Adana and Wu Jin sat across from him, professional despite having spent the night in each other's arms. Dae-jung finally set down the document. This is ambitious. Yes, Wu Jin said. It's also smart. Legitimacy as power. I like it. He looked at Adana. This was your idea? The core concept, yes. Wu Jin developed the financial structure and implementation strategy. Partnership, Dae-jung observed. Real partnership, not just contractual. Neither of them responded. The silence was confirmation enough. Dae-jung smiled slowly. My son doesn't partner with people. He manages them, uses them, tolerates them. But partner? That's rare. He stood, walked to the window. I'll fund this. 2 billion won, staged over 18 months. But I want majority stake, 51%. No, Adana said firmly. Dae-jung turned, eyebrow raised. With respect, sir, this only works if it's genuinely independent. If you control it, it looks like a front. If we control it, it's authentic. She leaned forward. 40% stake for you. We keep 60% combined. You get ROI and political capital. We get autonomy and credibility. Bold negotiation. Honest negotiation. You taught me that's what you respect. Dae-jung laughed, genuine, pleased. Wu Jin, your partner has spine. I'm aware, Wu Jin said. Fine, 40% for me, but I want quarterly reviews and veto power on major decisions. Quarterly reviews, yes. Veto power, no. But we'll consult you before major decisions and seriously consider your input. You're negotiating with me like I'm not the most dangerous man in Seoul. You're also a businessman. Businessmen understand when a deal is fair. Dae-jung studied her for a long moment, then extended his hand. Deal. Let's build this empire. Adana shook it, heart pounding. They'd done it. Created something real, something powerful, something entirely theirs. This is it, friends. We've journeyed from one dance to an empire. Tell me in the comments, what part of Adana's transformation resonated with you most? And if you loved this story, smash that like button and subscribe to Love and Tension for more stories that keep you on the edge. 6 months later, the Afro-Korean Cultural Bridge Center opened in Gangnam with dignitaries, press, and crowds. A 3-story modern building with gallery spaces, performance venues, and educational programs. Adana's vision, made manifest. She stood at the ribbon cutting in a custom suit, African print fabric, Korean tailoring. Fusion made literal. Woojin stood beside her, slightly back, his preference, but his hand rested lightly on her lower back, claiming, supporting. There. "This is extraordinary, Miss Okonkwo," a reporter said, camera rolling. "How does it feel to achieve this success in just 1 year?" "It feels like coming home," Adana said honestly. "Not to one place, but to myself, to the woman who refused to die small." After the ceremony, they escaped to the rooftop garden, designed with both Korean and African plants. Another fusion. "You did it," Woojin said quietly. "The empire you imagined. We did it. I had the vision, you had the structure. Partnership." Yes. They stood watching Seoul sprawl beneath them. The city that had terrified her, trapped her, transformed her. "Do you regret it, the choices that brought you here?" Adana touched the bracelet on her wrist, the one he'd given her that she never removed. "No. Every choice made me who I am. The desperate woman who asked you to dance, the strategic woman who partnered with criminals, the powerful woman who built this." She looked at him. "Do you regret catching me when I ran?" "No. You've made me better, more human, more—" he struggled with the word, "more whole." She kissed him there on the rooftop with Seoul watching. Months into their relationship, he was better at this. Kissed back with genuine warmth, not just calculation. "What's next?" she asked. "Expansion. African office within a year, additional centers in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Singapore within 3. He pulled out his phone, always planning. "But first, dinner. I've made reservations." "You made reservations without asking if I was free?" "I calculated the probability of your availability. It was 87%. She laughed. "You're ridiculous." "I'm accurate." "Same thing sometimes." They walked toward the elevator, hands linked. Equal partners. Chosen family. Adana thought of the woman who'd walked into that club 6 months ago. Desperate, drowning, alone. She was none of those things now. She was powerful, strategic, built. And most importantly, she'd chosen it all. The dance, the partnership, the empire. Every step was hers. She refused to die small. And in refusing, she'd become exactly who she was meant to be. Not in spite of the danger, but because of it. Forged in fire, polished in chaos, powerful in choice. Adana Okonkwo, no longer drowning, finally swimming, finally free. The end.